Most people believe respect is earned through kindness, intelligence, or success. They think if they speak well, work hard, and treat others politely, people will naturally respect them. But reality works very differently. In every social group, in every workplace, and in almost every relationship, respect is built on one single thing, and most men completely misunderstand it. It is not confidence, it is not dominance, it is not even success. The one thing people truly respect is control. Control of emotions, control of reactions, control of behavior under pressure. Because the moment people realize they can influence your reactions, something changes immediately. If someone can make you angry, they gain power over you. If someone can make you defensive, they gain leverage over you. If someone can push your boundaries and watch you adjust yourself just to avoid conflict, they learn something very important. You can be moved. And once people believe they can move you, they start doing it more often. The interruptions begin. The sarcasm appears. The subtle challenges start showing up in conversations. At first, these moments seem small. Many people ignore them because they want to stay polite or avoid tension. But every time you react emotionally, explain yourself too much, or adjust your behavior to please someone else, the social dynamic shifts quietly. Respect slowly fades, because respect is not built on words. It is built on stability. The man who keeps respect is the man who stays emotionally stable even when pressure appears. When someone challenges him, he does not rush to defend himself. When someone interrupts him, he calmly continues speaking. When someone becomes emotional, he does not match their intensity. And in that moment, something powerful happens. The room starts to reorganize itself around the person who cannot be easily moved. Because people instinctively respect the one thing they cannot control. Most men try to gain respect by trying to look impressive. They speak louder, they argue harder. They try to prove their intelligence in every conversation. They believe respect comes from showing strength outwardly. But this strategy usually does the opposite. The more a man tries to prove himself, the more he signals insecurity. Because true control never needs to announce itself. Think about the moments when people actually respect someone in a room. It is rarely the loudest person speaking. It is rarely the person trying to dominate every conversation. Respect naturally moves toward the person who remains stable when tension appears. When a disagreement happens, most people react quickly. Voices rise, emotions appear, people begin defending themselves and trying to win the argument. But the man who understands social power behaves differently. He slows down instead of speeding up. He listens instead of interrupting. He speaks calmly instead of reacting emotionally. This calm behavior sends a very powerful psychological signal. It shows that his emotional state is not controlled by the environment around him. And that changes the entire dynamic of the interaction. Because when people cannot move you emotionally, they begin adjusting their own behavior instead. The interruptions become less frequent. The challenges become weaker. The sarcasm disappears. Not because you forced anyone to respect you, but because your stability quietly created a new hierarchy in the room. People instinctively respect emotional control because it signals strength under pressure. Anyone can appear confident when everything is comfortable. Anyone can appear calm when nothing is at stake. But when tension appears and someone remains composed while others become emotional, that difference becomes impossible to ignore. In those moments, people are not evaluating your words. They are evaluating your stability. And stability is something people cannot easily manipulate. That is why it earns respect automatically. Another reason people only respect control is because control removes unpredictability from your behavior. Most people react automatically to what happens around them. If someone raises their voice, they raise theirs. If someone challenges them, they rush to defend themselves. If someone provokes them, they react emotionally without thinking. This automatic reaction pattern makes people easy to influence. Because once someone understands how you react under pressure, they can control the direction of the interaction. If they know anger will trigger you, they can use anger. If they know sarcasm will make you defensive, they can use sarcasm. But when someone maintains control over their reactions, this entire system stops working. The person applying pressure suddenly loses the ability to predict what will happen next. And unpredictability creates hesitation. Imagine someone tries to provoke you during a conversation. Most people would react immediately. Their tone changes, their words become defensive, and the other person instantly sees the reaction they were looking for. But the man who understands control behaves differently. When pressure appears, he pauses, he listens, he responds slowly and deliberately instead of reacting emotionally. That pause creates a shift in the room. The person trying to provoke you expected an instant reaction. When it doesn't appear, they suddenly feel uncertain about how far they can push. And this hesitation weakens their influence. Over time, people learn something very important about you. Emotional pressure does not work. And once people realize that their usual tactics cannot move you, they stop trying to use them. This is why control creates respect faster than aggression ever could. Aggression can intimidate people for a short time, but it also reveals emotional instability. Control does the opposite. It signals that your behavior is guided by discipline rather than impulse. And people instinctively respect the person whose actions are controlled by discipline instead of emotion. The deeper truth is that people do not consciously decide who they respect. Respect is mostly instinctive. It appears automatically when someone shows a level of internal control that others cannot easily influence. Think about the moments when a room suddenly becomes quiet because one person begins speaking. That person is not always the loudest or the most aggressive. In many cases, he is simply the most composed. His voice is calm, his posture is steady, and his reactions are slow and deliberate. This behavior signals something powerful. His emotional state belongs to him, not to the environment around him. And that signal changes the psychology of the entire interaction. People begin adjusting their behavior around him without even realizing it. They interrupt him less. They listen more carefully. They become more cautious with sarcasm or disrespect. Not because he demanded authority, but because his control made emotional manipulation impossible. Humans instinctively respect people who cannot be easily moved. When someone sees that pressure does not create panic, that criticism does not create defensiveness, and that tension does not force a reaction, they begin to recognize a different kind of strength. This strength is quiet. It does not chase validation. It does not compete for attention. It simply remains stable regardless of the situation. And stability is rare. In a world where most people react emotionally, argue impulsively, and change their behavior depending on the mood of the room, the person who maintains control becomes impossible to ignore. Over time, that stability becomes a reputation. People begin to describe that man differently. They say he is hard to shake. They say he cannot be provoked easily. They say he carries himself differently. What they are really describing is control. And that is the one thing people truly respect. Not because control is loud or dramatic, but because control removes the possibility of influence. The moment people realize they cannot control your reactions, they begin respecting the fact that you control yourself.